I'm Aryeh Schwartz, and welcome to the Winsidr show, where it's all about the W. This episode, we got a preview of the Chicago Sky taking on the Las Vegas Aces in the WNBA Playoffs, Do or Die Round 2. If you like our show, please consider joining our Patreon community. For less than a cup of coffee a month, you can directly show support for the hard work we do covering the W. I'm here with Justin Carter, and we're talking Sky versus Aces. It's do or die. It's round 2 of the playoffs. Sky moved on with a convincing win over the Phoenix Mercury on, last week. Justin, what are your initial thoughts when you found out that these two teams would be playing for a chance to go to the semifinals?
I think my initial thoughts were pretty much that I was looking forward to the game. That I thought, hey, I think this is a game that the Sky could kind of come out and surprise people in, and make it to the next round. And then those thoughts kind of changed as I kind of dug into some of the stats and looked at some of the past meetings. But initially it was like this should be a fun offensive game.
The first time I looked at it, I completely agree with you. I looked at it and I go, wow. The Aces have been trashed recently. The Sky have been on fire. This is a scary matchup, a matchup Las Vegas didn't want. Now, keep in mind, these two teams were kind of jockeying for that first-round bye position. If the Sky would have been able to pull off a win in the last game of the season against DC, and if Vegas would have lost that last game against the Mercury, then we would have seen a flip of positions. And probably, in all honesty, these two teams playing again. But Mercury Aces matchup is very different. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole. But I agree with you. When I first looked at it, I thought Sky are going to run all over this. And then you start digging into the stats. Aces won 2 of 3. There's some concerning matchup issues. And the Aces really have a powerful defense, which I think is going to be a key element of slowing down the Chicago Sky team. Which do you think is going to prevail? Do you think it's going to be Chicago's defense, Chicago's offense, or Vegas's offense or Vegas's defense?
I think. What I was looking at one thing, which is that we think of Chicago as such a fast-paced team, which they are. They led the NBA or the WNBA in pace this year, so yeah, they're fast. But the Aces were second in pace, and that was a little surprising when I looked at it. And I think the Aces offense can keep up with Chicago, and I think that's a big part of why I think that Vegas ultimately probably pulls this out, is that if we end up in a fast-paced game where the defenses aren't necessarily able to slow much down, well, Vegas is one of the teams that can keep up in that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Me personally, I don't think speed, but obviously you're looking at the stats, you definitely see speed. I don't think speed, Vegas just doesn't, I feel like almost naturally they're a speed team, but Bill's style is not exactly speed, which is kind of, this is my own issues I've got with the whole Aces, but I think they should have, been a top 2 seed and just been plowing through teams this whole season, but we'll get into that later. For me, I'm just concerned about, I boil it down to it's going to be the Sky's offense against the Aces defense, and to me it comes down to which one of those two are going to prevail, which one of those is going to have an on night, which one of those is going to have an off night. Obviously, there's key players, and the Sky's defense matters, and the Aces offense matters. But without players like Kelsey Plum really getting going, which he's kind of struggled to a lot this season, it's going to be tough to do. Let's talk about key players. For me, for the Aces, I'm looking at Kelsey Plum and Liz Cambage. I know it's a cop-out to say Liz, and everyone likes to talk about Kelsey Plum as a thing. But talk to me. Who do you see as a few key players for the Aces?
I think I agree on Plum. She brings. They need her offensively in this game. And I think, if you look at some of the impact data, defensively, she's been a pretty much, you know, not necessarily good this year, but not bad. She's been pretty average on that end, and I think um, with what she can bring offensively, getting her minutes, not having her close the game, I think would be big. And then the other one I think is Asia Wilson, who when she played against the Sky this year, the Aces were 2-0. I mean, that's maybe that's simplifying things, but it's hard for this Sky team to kind of match up with the dominant bigs that Vegas has. And you know if Asia's playing Cambage, you have Hamby off the bench. I don't know how they really stop that.
Yeah, it's concerning and it's scary because I'll say the biggest weakness that you have of the Sky is their inability. Like, all right, I'm not trying to knock Steph Dolson and Stu, but like, let's be real. That's the weakness. This team is a team that is built to run, is built to move the ball and flow with the game and get the ball moving around to everyone touches the ball type thing. But it's going to be interesting to see if they can stand up with the bigs, because one of the critiques so far, and I know a lot of us have written about this or talked about it, is Liz and Asia's pairing hasn't always been the greatest. But I don't necessarily see that as an issue in this matchup. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I don't think I see it as an issue, but I also think that if it becomes an issue, well, being able to slide Hamby in there for one of them and kind of speed things up and stretch the floor a little more works in the Aces' advantage too. So I don't think it's going to be an issue, the Liz and Asia pairing, but if it is, there's kind of a ready-made answer there already for the Aces.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but let's flip it on to the Sky though for key players. I'm looking at Cheyenne Parker and Diamond DeShields. I know it's again, everyone's gonna be talking about Diamond. She had a monstrous game in her first playoff game and first home playoff game. But the real question for me is honestly, the matchup that I'm excited for is Hamby and Parker. I want to see these two players who, in my opinion, are the top 1 and 2 for Six Woman of the Year award. I think this is going to be the matchup that we're all looking for as far as deciding who gets it. I know Hamby's probably going to edge out Parker, but this is going to be a beautiful matchup to see.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I think I give Hamby the edge in that, but it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
So let's talk about offense. For me, it's all about, when you're talking Aces, two people that, in all honesty, and maybe I'm crazy, I feel like haven't really shown up that big this season as far as what we expected. And to a degree, we thought some of these players might take a hit with the acquisition of Liz, but Kayla McBuckets has been Kayla McBride this season, not Kayla McBuckets. And Kelsey Plum, she's shown spurts, but I'm looking at Kelsey more offensively as a key player. Is she going to be someone that can get to the hole, get fouled, and get to the free throw line, and then open up the court so she can hit some threes? And then is Kayla McBride going to show up like we've seen her do in the past in big games and kind of cement herself as that top player that we all know she has the potential to have? But it comes down to playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think we say McBride hasn't been McBuckets this year. I mean, she's still shooting 42.8% from three, so I think even if this year hasn't been as kind of impressive as we wanted, she still brings such a threat on the outside. But I think, and I'm really hesitant on this, but I think Kelsey Plum shows up on Sunday. I mean, I know moving her to the bench seems to have kind of unlocked some things offensively.
I mean, you're the one who knows them best. But I mean, yeah, no, I think it's definitely unlocked some stuff, but I don't think I think she had that one good game, but it's kind of simmered down now. And I just haven't seen, like, look, let's be real. And I know there's an easy cop out answer that consistency is the reason that these teams are playing right now, as opposed to having a double round bye. But for me, it's been that lack of consistency from Kelsey Plum, and really from the Aces as a whole, that has really confused me. I'm excited to see, though, the atmosphere in the new stadium. Well, not the new stadium, but excuse me, not the Aces original home stadium. They are moved for the playoffs. Let's flip it over and talk about offensive players on Sky side. For me, it's Courtney Vandersloot and Diamond DeShields. If these two players can get going, get the ball moving, and honestly, like, look, I'll be real. If Chicago wants to win this game, a lot is riding on the shoulders of Diamond DeShields. She needs to have big games. She needs to have that 28-point game in reference to when Vegas blew out Chicago 100-85. But you need to see somebody else step up, and there needs to be a defensive answer for what Vegas is doing. Key players for you offensively on the Sky.
I mean, I think Diamond's one of them for sure. And if she goes out and she looks like she did in the first playoff game, great. That's a huge, huge, huge plus. I think other than that, I mean, you need Quigley to be hitting shots. You need, Vandersloot to get the ball in the right spots, which I mean that'll happen. But I mean, yeah, I think it really rides on what Diamond DeShields does. There's been times this year where there's been some inconsistency in her game. She was my runaway pick before the season for most improved, and now, by the end of the year, I wasn't kind of having that. She wasn't, top of my list at that point because there's just been moments where things weren't. I don't know where things just didn't seem to develop all the way. But I mean, if we look at the last playoff game, yeah, that was. If she gives you that, I think that's really the path to the Sky winning this game.
Yeah, it's going to be on the shoulders of Diamond DeShields. And can she deliver? This is a big stage. I talked about this after the last game. I'll say it till my ears bleed. It really, we can't put a price on what that overseas season did for her to give her that leg up. I mean, I don't view her as a sophomore in this league. I view her as, a junior, as it were. Just because of that overseas season, I really think it's helped her. We were talking about mismatches and matchup issues for both teams. I want to focus now on the defensive side. I picked Diamond. I mean, Diamond, we're talking about this. It's going to be everything's on her in many regards and how she handles that pressure. So for me, it's going to be Diamond. Can she show up? On the defensive end, she's going to get a little bit more of a break because we've talked about this. It's a little bit more paint-heavy of a team, the Vegas is. But it's going to be interesting. We saw Diamond be able to bang down low with the bigs against the Mercury. We saw her getting a nasty rejection against Dewana Bonner. And we've seen her continue to do stuff like that throughout the whole season. So for me, she is a huge impact player on both ends of the ball. We might see them try and rest her a little bit, kind of protect her a little bit on defense so she can have that extra energy on offense. The other one is a stew. Somebody needs, I mean, really, I could have just said anybody, any big on the team. Somebody is going to need to step up and at least be capable of containing Cambage and or Asia. Is there anybody on this roster that you think can do that?
For spurts in a game, sure. I think for a sustained, 40 minutes of play holding them back, I'm not so sold on that. I think Chicago might actually need to have Diamond sometimes go down there and guard the bigs because it gives you a different look defensively. But I mean, I think the biggest worry I have on the Sky side is that I don't see much of a way of them slowing down that front court. And I mean,
Dude, it's going to be scary. And I'm sure James Wade is not sleeping well at night knowing this because, I mean, this is how he gets paid the big bucks and how he can cement himself and kind of shun all the doubters. Talk to me about the Aces. Who do you think is going to be a key matchup, a key player for the Las Vegas Aces. I got Jackie Young and Derek Hamby as keys.
Yeah, I mean, I think ever thinking about like the Aces defensively. Jackie Young, yeah. Normally, I would say the Aces, bigs more, Cambage, Wilson. But I don't anticipate this being a game that's where the Sky aren't going to be super heavy on post offense or anything in here that's going to need um, Liz and Asia to really step up as much. I think that. Um, I think Hamby coming off the bench and um, being able to kind of defend inside and outside is going to be huge.
It's going to be extremely huge in my opinion, because I think at the end of the day, I just don't think that, like you were saying, this isn't going to be a game of, Asia and Liz are going to be key elements offensively. Yes, they're going to control the boards and whatnot. They're going to be key elements offensively. Defensively, I think, Liz will struggle if Dolson's not out on the court. As far as matchup wise, I think she's a little bit of a mismatch, and hopefully they'll be able to find a way to take care of that. I'm just gonna give a sneak peek before we get into scores, because I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm gonna make you do a score prediction and pick a team. But for me, something that has been looming in my head all last game, because if anyone knows me, they know I've been extremely critical of Steph Dolson, especially on this style of roster and this gameplay. But how much poetic justice would it be if Steph Dolson comes to DC, beats DC to go to the finals, or beats them in the finals to win the championship? I think that would just be amazing. The perfect story tale for this WNBA season, and for the ones who know about, the trade and the movements and all this and that, it would just be ridiculous. And there would be some good joshing and jabbering, as they say, between the Sky and DC if they play in the finals or even in the semifinals. So I would love to see that matchup. But to the predictions, I'll go first before I put you on the spot, Justin. I'm going 88-80 Sky win.
Oh, well, I think. I feel like it's a 7-point game. I really hate having to put like a number of how many points each team has in that 7-point game that I'm predicting. But maybe something like 77-70 Aces. I think, which is pretty low scoring for these teams. But I think, despite the fact that the Aces are so high in pace, I think they're going to find a way to kind of slow things down, and that's going to really kind of give them an advantage.
I love what I'm hearing. It's going to be an exciting game. I'm excited for the chess match between coaches. We can break down all of these players, and this player's done this and this and that. But some of the more exciting and cooler stuff is definitely going to be in the minds of the coaches, figuring out how they can stop each other. Interesting enough, we'll be releasing in a little bit. I just did an interview with Aryeh Powers discussing her predictions for the game. And when I approached her with the question, she literally asked for 10 minutes to think it over, because she's like, I can't make a call on these games. But I'm not going to give away her picks. You should check it out. It's going to be on our Instagram and our Twitter feed coming out soon. Justin, thanks for taking the time and for always crushing these articles you've been working on this season. Remind the people where they can find you and what your Twitter handle is.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at JustCarts, which is JUSCARTS, because Just Cart was already taken.
That jerk.
Yeah, I don't even think he tweets. So.
Oh, that's the worst. Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, hey, we believe in the players in the W and its community deserve the same in-depth analysis and respect that men's sports receive on a daily basis. Please consider joining our Patreon community to help support us and the hard work that we do. Have a good one.